This week on Dumb Pitches, my guest is Shawn Carter. He's got a new album coming out, and we go through 3 separate bad ideas that were inspired by jokes from his album. And I think a couple of them are going to make the dummies. They're pretty good bad ideas, if you know what I'm saying. It's a great episode. Here we go, Dumb Pitches.
What a bunch of dumb pitches. Oh my goodness.
Welcome to another episode of Dumb Pitches with Monica Nevi. I'm Monica Nevi, your host. This is the show where we talk to successful people about their worst ideas. I'm very excited for our guest. I really love this guy. Actually, it's so funny because somebody else asked me to have him as a guest, and I was like, well, yeah, of course. I would just ask you anyways. But Shawn Carter is here. Yay.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for doing it. Really excited to have you. We already know each other because you, and we'll find this out in the title of your album, but you're from Massachusetts, you're from the Boston area, and you ended up moving to Bristol, Tennessee, which is maybe not top of the list for most people leaving Massachusetts, but you're a hilarious stand-up comedian. You also own and run the Blue Ridge Comedy Club, which I didn't realize, but I am wearing that shirt. I didn't even think about it. I just happened to have it on. And then you recently you recorded an album, and it is coming out December 15th with Blonde Medicine. And that, and the title of it is Boston to Bristol, right?
Yeah, that's right. It's like you said, like probably Bristol's probably not the place a lot of people from Massachusetts are moving to, but specifically not comedians.
That's fair. Maybe somebody is, but not comics.
Yeah. If you're trying to make your living in comedy, you're probably, people are like, okay, is it New York? Is it LA? Is it Austin, whatever, Chicago? But I was like, nah, we'll go to Bristol.
We'll go to Bristol. So it is Tennessee, but it's like all the way in the corner there, and it's the main street on the other side is Virginia. Is it Virginia?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I love that you've been to the club and like know this, because I've been talking to a bunch of people that aren't familiar with it, and they just kind of don't. They're like, "Are you near Memphis?" And we're like, "No,
no, not really near anything." But yeah,
yeah. So like, we're on a street that where we are, we're actually in Tennessee, but the other side of the street is Virginia. So we're like right on the state line. Yeah,
I loved it. So many people were talking, like it was just like the talk of the town is the fact that one side is Virginia, and they were like very. Like kept bringing it up and stuff, and everything is called whatever, state line or something, you know. It's
yeah, everything's state line this, state line that. Yeah. It's a big deal there.
Yeah, it's so cute. I liked it though. I loved. I actually was there during the Pride, and I want to say it was like there's like 3 cities that do the Pride together, but
Tri-Pride.
Yeah, but they hadn't had it in Bristol yet, or in a long time or something, and it was a big deal, and there was like a lot of security and cages and stuff around it, but I got to go check it out. There was only one protester lady, so that worked out okay. But
yeah, I saw one like lunatic in the middle of the road protesting, but that's about it. But yeah, we had Tri-Pride in Bristol, which they do between Bristol, Kingsport, and Johnson City is what they consider.
What it is.
Yeah, the Tri-Cities.
Oddly enough, I had been to Kingsport like in 2015.
Oh, no kidding.
And done shows. And so that's just so, what a weird place for, I mean, I loved it because Bristol's like this too. I like Christmas a lot, and they feel like very like little Christmassy towns kind of.
Oh, yeah.
So I loved it, but that's so funny that, I mean, whatever, you've been a stand-up for a long time too. You're like, I've been to all these places that no one even knows our places, but
yeah, it's a very Hallmark Christmas town.
Definitely.
Somebody was telling me they were like, your wife just like did the Hallmark in reverse to you, like she was the successful businesswoman, but then she like dragged you back to her little town.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. That's hilarious. Yeah, I just taped a Christmas special, and I have a joke about Hallmark, and that's actually pretty.
That's awesome.
That's great. That's so funny. Okay, so we're all aware now. Hilarious. Excited for your album to come out. Successful. fella, but that is not what we're here to talk about. Okay, we are here for your bad ideas. So when we set you kind of the criteria, what bad ideas did you think of?
Well, I got one which kind of, I think most of these play into, they're not on the album, but they kind of play into what I talk about on the album.
Nice.
So
Okay.
like, one is I talk about like baby proofing stuff on the album because I have a whole bit about it, but like, I can never figure out how to get into stuff because my wife did all the baby proofing, and
So it's you
so
proofed as well.
it's exactly, it's also Shawn proofed, um but then like kids are really smart, like especially like toddlers are really smart, and they'll just play with something and figure out how it works. So the idea is for baby proofing that automatically changes the way that it works every like week or so,
Oh,
so that your kid can't figure it out.
nice.
But the downside is that you probably also
You also can't
can't
figure
figure it out because we're not like I don't think I'm smarter than my toddler daughter. I can just read instructions.
it. You're right. I just have more information than she does. That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's okay. It's kind of like it's like an algorithm for something that like is physical and it would change. I mean, that's
Yeah.
not the worst idea, but that is a fair point. I like that you might be our only guest that was like, here's also what's wrong with it while I'm saying it. Like, let me trip myself up. I mean, yeah, look, we're not here for logistics. We're just here for the ideas. That's up to somebody else.
Oh, right.
That is a good point though, is that they do the more time they spend with it, the more chance they have of figuring it out. Like they'll or and even oh psychological warfare with kids too. I mean, even with you, they'll figure out what they can get away with or what to say to get
Oh,
you
yeah.
to go with stuff, right? And so they do that with whatever safety equipment as well.
Oh, yeah. They're constantly testing boundaries for
Hmm.
sure.
That's good. I mean, do you? That's a good question, actually. Do you do that? Do we do that with rules and different stuff like that? Am I changing what I'm telling? Because I have a 10-year-old son. Am I changing what I'm telling him to get around what he's now worked out
Yeah.
in the
He's like
same way
figured it
that it
out,
would
and you're like,
change?
I need a new way to stop this
Yeah,
from
definitely.
happening.
I probably am. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
sure we're like constantly evolving in our like, communication, probably with our kids, and
yeah.
and all you're trying to do is hold your line. You try not to
Yes.
lose any ground. That's it.
Definitely. You have to maintain some sort of upper hand, or else they will. They'll take it. They'll figure it out. They'll
Oh,
figure you out
yeah,
so easily.
yeah, yeah. If my daughter had her way, I couldn't leave the house. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I would be
He's
with her all
so.
the
Oh my
time,
gosh. Well, and that's
except
the
for
thing.
the.
You get. They
Sorry.
get used to it. No, sorry. They get used to it. Whatever it is. If they have taken. If they have moved the line back a little bit, right? So then when you're like, no, actually, it's like my wife works remotely like 2 days a week. So every time she has to go into work, he's like, what? You have to
Yep.
go into work? Like he's like so upset about it. It's like, this is what normal people do.
Yep.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. So it changes so that they can't figure it out, which is, I mean, look, you might be onto something even moving forward, not just for toddlers, like I haven't had a teenager yet, but I've heard it has its own set of challenges. And this
All
might
right.
be might be helpful for that too. It would maybe promote problem solving too.
Yeah, I don't know about what teenagers are like now, but when I was young, we were stealing liquor out of the liquor cabinet, and maybe some way of getting that to be
There you go. It's a
closing that
different.
off. I
Just
guess
it's
my
like
parents
switches the
probably could have
bottles
just put a
around.
lock on it, but what fun is that,
You
right?
did, yeah. Mine didn't have lock either, but that's yeah. I don't know. Then do they figure? Yeah, we would take it, put it into a water bottle separately, and then put it back. So then you just have these water bottles of
Yeah, yeah.
whatever liquor you found, and it was oh god, I don't know
Usually,
how.
hopefully, clear liquor, because otherwise,
Right? Yeah. You're
kind of
like,
tell it
what's
on
this?
yourself.
This brown liquor in a
Yeah,
water bottle. You're like,
just get
oh,
some
it's
brandy in there.
yeah, it's just tea. No. Okay, I love it. I think that's a great. Do you have other? Did you come up with some other bad
Oh
ideas
yeah, I
or?
got another one. So on the album again, I talk about my dog. A few years ago, my dog had like what we call leash aggression. So like she would, if she's on a leash, she wants to fight other dogs. If
Okay.
she's not on leash, she's fine with other dogs. I don't know. It's a weird thing that some
That
dogs
is
have.
weird.
But the invention that I would have for that is like VR for dogs, so that so that when they're on a walk, they can't see other dogs. Like we're just
Okay.
showing them
Oh,
like
it's
a
just showing
sidewalk.
them. Got it.
Yeah, maybe we put like extra fire
Oh,
hydrants in there or something. I don't know,
there you
but
go.
you
Huh.
know, we just make it nice for them.
Yeah, I wonder because does your dog notice the TV?
Not really.
Not really,
Like
because
never
it's
really
weird. Because
cared
I feel
about the
like
TV.
yeah, some dogs do, or like will react to it, like
Yeah.
bark at it or something. When some dogs don't even notice. But if it's okay, I think the part that made me laugh the most is like I'm imagining putting the goggles on the dog and they're just like
Yeah.
walking around like that. But that's a great okay. And then you could put whatever. I mean, that would be good for people who live in apartments or like can't get to a park easily or
Oh
something.
yeah.
You
Throw the
know,
dog on a treadmill.
the VR on
Put
it.
the VR on. Put a little animation of a squirrel running or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
It'll be
there you
fun.
go.
You know?
Okay, so you're taking the dog for a walk. There are other dogs, but they don't notice because they got the VR
Yeah.
on and they're not in there.
Yeah. They don't even know that there's dogs all around them.
That's
They're
great. That
they're just happy. Unless I guess if you think that a dog can smell the other dogs, which maybe they can, but
probably.
like
That maybe that would be, but would they
we gotta get a VR for their nose.
smell
Nose
VR?
VR.
What does VR stand for? Virtual reality. Okay,
Virtual
so yeah,
reality, yeah.
yeah. Um, that might be good for anything actually. Nose VR. I think you might be onto something there. You could just wear it in some place that smells terrible. You're like, oh,
Yeah.
what are you?
You
Um,
go into an elevator, you don't know what's gonna happen. Throw that
you
thing in
never
there,
know.
you know?
Yeah. That's good. Or which I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of jobs that are well, yeah. If you're waste management, then you're
Oh
like, oh,
yeah.
just put my nose VR on.
You get the people, yeah, they're grabbing the barrels off the side of the road, throwing them in the trash truck, but they got that little VR thing on their nose. They're
Yeah,
having a great day, you know?
that's pretty great. I wonder okay. So the dog's got the VR thing on, but okay, we haven't come up with the nose VR yet. If they couldn't see it, but they're smelling it, are they just confused or are they going? I mean, I guess there's, depending on the dog, it's kind of really good at smelling and figuring out where it's coming from. But
Yeah, that's true. They might smell them and hear them and be like confused
yeah,
by the mixed signals that their brains are giving them, you know?
yeah, that would be, but maybe they wouldn't try to figure it out because they don't see, I don't know, or they're distracted, depending on, maybe you put a squirrel over here and then
Yeah.
a dog over
You got
there.
to build
That
in
would be,
distractions
there you go. Yeah, whenever
when a
you,
dog
maybe
gets
that's
close
it.
enough.
You could control and put, fire hydrant pops up or whatever whenever there's a dog on the other side.
Yeah. And they're like, oh, this is more interesting than that smell.
Yeah. But I think the true great idea is the nose VR so that you just put that on there, then they wouldn't smell anything. It's great. I like I don't know why that's like such an interesting idea to me because it could just be, I don't even know. You could just put something, it doesn't necessarily have to be like a digital thing. You could just put something that
Yeah.
smells
Yeah.
differently over their noses or your own nose. But the idea that it's like high tech.
Yeah, it's gonna be high tech, and then
Yeah.
because you got to come up with a lot of different
People aren't
stuff.
gonna. Well, and then you want to be able to change the smell, I'm assuming.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and hopefully it doesn't glitch out because if it gives you something really bad that you didn't want, I mean,
Yeah.
it's gonna be bad
You're
times.
gonna call customer service and like my nose VR smells like shit now.
Yeah.
What happened? That's oh my gosh. And the simplicity of the name Nose VR is just so funny to me too.
Yeah, that's what we're calling it. Nose
We're
VR.
onto- okay, I mean, I've been bringing it up on episodes recently, but normally I'm not like, hey, let's put pressure on you. But at the end of the year, we always do an award show, the dummies, and so people can nominate their favorite bad ideas throughout the year of the episodes, and that one's one's up there. Look, I'm not influencing anyone, but I
I'm
think that one's
celebrating. I
pretty
don't know
good.
if you have any video, but I'm celebrating over here.
Yes, yes, we definitely got. You'll be on the YouTube, and they'll know what's up. Okay, all right. Do you have any other ones? I don't know how you follow that
Um,
up. That's pretty good.
just the other ones I'd say is like we have so I have this joke on the album about how my car shuts off if you come to a red light and how annoying that is, and especially if you grew up without a lot of money because you just feel like your car just broke down.
Oh, you
Um,
have the one that like restarts itself or whatever.
yeah.
Okay,
It like
yeah,
shuts off,
yeah.
and then when you like take your foot off the brake, yeah. And I have this joke that's just like, hey, if you're wealthy, good for you, but if you were like a little bit poor,
You
that's
might
probably
fuck.
that's scary every time. So the other inventions I would come up with are like just like fun things that poor people can put on their car to make them feel like when they were poor again. Like maybe they have a little bit more money now, but like maybe they're like, you know what, I should get a bungee cord to hold my bumper on, something like that.
Yes, there you go. I mean, yeah, you put.
We'll
You could
brand them.
just get something stuck in my tape deck. That would be great. So then
Yeah. The tape deck, yes, yeah. Maybe we could sell cars with tape decks in them because
there
just
you
for like
go.
the nostalgia,
Did you have? Did you have? When? So like a Discman, like a
Oh
CD
yeah,
player that you walked around with, right? For those of you who don't know
oh yeah.
that. But then for a while they didn't have CD players in the car, so there was an adapter that you would put in the cassette thing that had a cord out of it that you could then plug into the Discman and it would play through the car radio. I swear everyone I knew who had one of those got it stuck in there. Like
Oh,
there was always a tape and then this cord coming out and they'd like try to pull it out and stuff and you just could never get it out.
oh, interesting. I don't know why I would ever want to take it out because I like well, by the time that I was doing CDs, I was like, what am I going to listen to tape now? You
Yeah, what
know.
do I have all these tapes
So
for?
I assume it was stuck in there when that car broke down and I had it towed away for the last time ever, and I just never
That's you
tried to
like I
take it
never
out.
tried to take it out though. Yeah.
Yeah, because by that point we were probably onto iPods or something.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, why would you try to take it out if you're using the CDs anyway? That's great.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm trying to think. Okay, that for some reason would remind me of the poor days. The poor days. I'm still poor. It's fine.
I mean, I
Um,
remember that's so fun. I was talking about this with my wife the other day, but when we used to have the car stereos that people would like have an interface that you like
you take it
disconnect
off
when
and
you
take it
leave.
with you.
Yeah,
Yes.
because they're like somebody's gonna steal this CD player. You know?
Yeah, which is so funny because so my brother like built his own subwoofers and stuff in the back of his. I think it was the Jetta. He had a Jetta and a Honda Civic. We're from Seattle.
Yeah, that's a car you put subwoofers in
Yeah,
that you
and
build yourself.
that bumper would rattle too.
Hmm.
Um, and he would take that, but I was always like, what if people steal the speakers out? Which eventually they did. So I don't know. Like it was always funny to me that you would just take the face of it, but I
Yeah,
don't.
like the least expensive part.
Right. And you'd be like, oh,
Yeah.
they can't see what they're pushing. I'm like, I guess so. I don't know.
I think that having like really like expensive subwoofers too is kind of a funny thing because not only are they probably pretty easy to steal, but you're letting everybody know that you have them when you're driving up there because you're
That
not
is
like driving around quietly.
no, no. And we could always tell when he got home when he's 9 years
Oh
older
yeah.
than me. So it's like whenever he came home at night, we knew, and which is so funny because I'm like, it's 2, 3 in the morning and he's still just like blasting music as loud as possible. All right. That's
What kind of
hilarious.
music?
Okay.
Do you remember
I mean,
what he was listening to?
oh yeah, I mean, this was so late 90s, early 2000s.
It's
Well,
like
really
Limp Bizkit.
late 90s. I think he hated that. He was a rap, or rap,
Okay, I
Tupac,
gotcha.
Snoop Dogg, that kind of stuff. Trying to think. He has weird music taste now, but yeah, that was all, I was more of an R&B, 90s R&B fan,
Hmm.
but I think the first album I ever got, he bought me and it was LL Cool J. So
That's a good one.
it is a good one. I
Yeah.
enjoyed it. I still enjoy it.
Yeah.
That's so funny. I like that. Just little. I mean, you could probably start an online store of just like things for your car. That did you do like any air fresheners or any like hanging things or any, like
Yeah, we used to have the little pine tree
the
in
little
my
pine
car.
tree?
Yeah, yeah.
we eventually had those ones that like fit in the
Oh, in the
air
air
thing,
freshener,
but
the air freshener that goes in the vent for the
yeah,
heating and the cooling. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, which is funny
yeah.
too, because if you had a car that like the cars I used to have, also a lot of times the heat or the AC wouldn't work. Like, I mean, AC, you
Mm,
don't even have AC.
no.
It's just heat. But sometimes the heat wouldn't work. And like, so that would be funny. If you turn it on, you're just turning it on to make the air freshener work, you know?
Yes. My heat, and so I had a 2001 Mustang until like 2016, and it the heat took like 20 minutes to
Mm-hmm.
turn on, and so
Oh
you
man.
could never defrost anything.
Yeah.
And then of course I was not, responsible enough to be like, oh, I'll go get up and turn it on and like let it warm
Yeah.
up. I was like, I need to leave now.
And you don't have that remote starter on there.
Definitely
No, no.
not. And then the radio on that one didn't work. Like I want to say only the radio worked. Like you couldn't plug anything else in or something like that.
Oh yeah.
Which I know. I mean, that's what
The
it is.
radio's on, but you try to roll down the window and then like a tire goes flat or
Yeah,
something. Yeah.
exactly. Like it's just because you're poor, you can't get a new car, right? So
Yeah,
then
yeah.
the things that used to work start not working. But so the car I have now, I have a Ford Focus. Bought it used because somebody hit my other car, which was a 2014 Ford Focus, and I was like, I was almost done. Like I had like $300 left to pay on it.
Oh
Like one
man.
more payment, and
Yep.
then I had to get another one, and so I was like, just give me the same car or whatever with less miles. But I got it 2 years earlier, but didn't ask enough questions because, like, there's no cruise control on it. Didn't
Uh-huh.
notice. Then the front windows are automatic, but the back ones are manual.
They have manual. Wait, what? I have never heard of this.
Isn't that so weird?
What?
And of course, when you test drive a car, I'm like driving it around. I'm only in the front seat. Like I didn't think to like sit in the back of it. So yeah, it's got like the crank in the back, but not in the front.
I cannot even imagine somebody showing me a car and being like, if you'll notice in the front, you have automatic
Right,
windows.
which is probably why he did not tell me that.
Pretty
But
sweet.
they
And
were
then
big
in the
on
back,
trying to
crank
get me to,
windows.
yeah, buy that one instead of there was another one that was identical to the car that had gotten
Yeah, yeah.
totaled, but less miles on it. And so
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, that seems fine. And it was less, it was cheaper because it was 2 years old or whatever. And it's stand up, so I don't really care for it to be, I just wanted decent gas mileage and not too much of a loan. And he
Yeah.
was very like, you should get this one instead. And I honestly think it was probably because everyone else fucking noticed that there was.
Yeah, they
things
can't move
missing.
that with hand cranked rear windows. I would rather
Yeah.
have all four windows hand cranked than just the ones
Then
in the
just
rear.
it's so
That
weird.
makes it sound weird. Like,
It does. It makes it sound like I got nostalgic and was like, I really
Yeah.
miss those hand crank windows. Let's just put them in the back for
this was somebody else's dumb idea at some point. They're like, let's just give them a couple just so that
Somebody
they feel.
at Ford was like, but don't you kind of miss like cranking the window? And you're like, no.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Man,
it's
that's
good
like
for
what you had
kids.
mentioned about almost paying off the car. That's like one of those things that like there's almost nothing I think as satisfying as making a final car payment and then that car still running. And
Yes.
it's the sort of thing that it's like, yeah, we all wish that we were comfortable and wealthy and whatever, but like somebody with a lot of money will never know the joy of just like paying off a car and still having that car run and being like,
And then you're like, I
wow.
just get to drive this into the ground and I am not
Yep.
paying anything for it, Like
Yep.
it's, and I was just so close. It's now, I think the next loan is getting close, but I'm like worried about it now.
Yeah,
What's
yeah.
going to happen? Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. So yeah, maybe you could add the manual.
Yeah, we'll put those hand cranks in there. You know what? Throw one on the front too so that we can crank the motor to start it. I don't remember doing that.
I don't
but
remember it either.
Somebody at some point did it. So
You know what I do remember, which is interesting that you have an idea around this. I didn't realize like having old stuff meant you were poor, because my brother's so much older than me. We had like video game systems that people are like, oh, well, you're too young to have had that one. And I was like, no, we had like Duck Hunt and stuff, and they're like,
Yeah.
what? And I'm like, oh, we just couldn't buy like the new one, like there was PlayStation
Yeah, yeah.
shit out then, but we just couldn't buy it, which is fine. So my mom had it was like a 1980 something Mustang, weird Mustang ladies, and it had an 8-track player in it. And so I like
Nice.
knew what that was and like knew how to use it and stuff. And so I'm like, 7, 8-year-old kid that's like, hey, where are your 8 tracks at? Everyone's like, what? I'm like, yeah, you gotta shove it in there and it sticks out a little bit and all this stuff. But just because we had old shit. So that's funny
Yep.
because it's, yeah, you could do, I mean, I could see, like boomer age people being just nostalgic for it, not necessarily because it's, poor, but people more our age being like, yeah, I know what that is because my mom still had one.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That stuff's all cyclical. I mean, vinyl is huge right now, so
Yeah, definitely. I wonder if that, I
I
mean,
mean,
yeah,
it's
vinyl.
got. I remember looking through like records as a kid. Like I was too young. We all had tapes and stuff by then. But I remember looking through records, and we had a record player. So
Yeah.
like I remember putting them on now and then. But that wasn't our normal way of listening to music.
No, and I would always move the thing around and stuff. And
Yeah,
so,
yeah, yeah. You're
yeah.
like DJing. Yeah,
Yep.
I'm like playing with the speed.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yes. Yeah, we
yep,
just got, one of those new little ones that are like a little briefcase that opens and
yep.
has one in there. And so, yeah, but our son wants to do the same thing. And I'm like, that's mommy's Taylor Swift album. So go ahead and do
I know.
that.
I had the weirdest moment the other day where my 3-year-old was like getting into the records, and I was like, "No, no, no, we don't treat the Tool album that way."
Exactly. There you go. Okay. Stuff to make your car feel shitty again.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
is funny though about it restarting because so sometimes when I'm on the road, I'll rent a car,
Hmm.
and then they do that. Like a lot of them do that now, and I'm like, well, because mine doesn't, my actual car
Yep.
doesn't. So then when something else, I'm like, oh God, did I just do something? Is this?
Oh yeah. If you're not used to it, and especially if you're in a place that you aren't normally, like you're in a new city
Yeah.
that you don't, or maybe you're in a part of the country that is not a city, and then you're even more like, where am I?
Did I just stop in the middle of? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had some like it was a Jeep Gladiator,
Uh-huh.
which is like the Jeep truck, and it was doing that, and I was going from Omaha to Des Moines, Iowa, and so in the middle, it's like just corn or whatever, and I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
like, oh God, please have nothing happen to this.
I have learned in the past day that this is like a very controversial, the engine stopping and turning back on, because I posted the clip from it from like when I
Oh
recorded
yeah,
the
did you get
album.
some?
The comments are, I mean, people are arguing in the comments
Really?
like you would not believe over this.
Some
Yeah, yeah.
stuff that's so funny. I honestly think that's the way to go with comments is when people are just arguing with each other.
Yeah, yeah.
You're like, I'm
Yeah.
getting the engagement here.
Yes. Like you would think like, yeah, I'm like, oh, I gotta post something controversial. And I'm like, yeah, I'll do it about the stop start
I
button.
know that's what.
The
Yeah,
truck.
that's so funny. Well, good, good. We'll repost it on our on our
Oh, right on.
Instagram
Nice. Yeah, yeah.
so that they can check it out. That's great. Okay, well, these were fantastic ideas. Will you tell everyone where they can follow you and where they can come see you live and stuff, and then tell them about the album coming out again?
Yeah. So you can follow me like anywhere really, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. It's all just Shawn Carter comedy. I keep it simple.
Nice.
Or Blue Ridge Comedy Club. We have a website, blueridgecomedy.com, and they have a Facebook page with their own, Blue Ridge Comedy. Um, and the album is called Boston to Bristol, and it's coming out December 15th on Blonde Medicine. So you can find it on iTunes or Bandcamp or on the Blonde Medicine website.
Nice, perfect. And we'll put a link to those things that I was sent so that people can find them through the description of the video or the podcast episode notes. If you're watching us on YouTube, you can subscribe here. Or if you're listening, please subscribe, rate, and review, do all those things. I do encourage you. I just filmed my holiday special. It'll come out in December, and it'll come out here first on YouTube for YouTube members. So join the membership. You get these episodes early, and then you'll get that ad-free and before everyone else. So you should do it. Thank you so much for being here, Shawn. This is so fun, and I mean, I have a feeling we're going to see you for the dummies, so it'll be great.
Thank you. Thanks for
Yeah,
having
of
me.
course. And right now, just keep watching Dumb Pitches.